Alright, hello. Welcome to my Patreon. I get a lot of questions about how I make my self-portraits. I'd say probably about 90% of the content that I post on Instagram, Twitter, as well as Patreon is all self-portraiture. And the reason for this is because I'm a control freak. That's the root of the thing. So I'm going to be doing a few different kinds of videos on how I create my self-portraits. This video is going to be specifically on tools that I use. So normally for videos such as this, I would have my camera mounted onto this little guy. So this is a GorillaPod. And a GorillaPod is a flexible tripod that is rather short, but very, very, very handy. The reason I don't use a normal tripod is because it's really restrictive. So you set it up, you set up the height of it, and then it's just this solid object that you just kind of have to like move back and forth and up and down, and you can kind of like move the camera like this, and that's it. So I got bored. And I instead went to the GorillaPod. It's flexible. You can bend it all sorts of ways. As you can see, it can go straight. But you can attach this to door frames, shelves, trees. GorillaPod is my #1 friend. Second thing that I use, Nikon D3300. The LCD screen, although it is wonderful and big and I love it so much, it does not come out and swivel around. So I don't have the ability to see myself when I'm doing self-portraits, and that makes it a little bit of a challenge. GorillaPod. Camera. Any kind of tripod and any kind of camera will work just fine for self-portraits, but these are the two tools that I use the most. Third tool, remote shutter release. It's got this little button on the top, it's got a sensor on it, and it has a battery in the bottom. Okay, so to get the battery out of this thing, you slide this little thing out here, pop that open, and there's the battery slot. But they usually come with a battery. I always recommend getting an extra battery or two. The batteries last a long time, but if you're someone like me who does just a buttload of self-portraiture, you're gonna need more batteries, and if you run out in the middle of a shoot, you're gonna be real mad at yourself. So don't do that to yourself. You can do delayed remote. It'll give you 2 seconds from the time you press the button to the time it takes a picture. So I always use delay remote because I need to pose for my photos. And if you look at my self-portraits, you will always notice that my right hand is clenched or hidden. Right? Ridiculous. But that's how I do my self-portraits. Those were very creepy looking, actually. So camera, remote shutter release, tripod, and a lot of patience, a lot of time. I will often also use my ring light here, which was $85 at some store in Vancouver. Kerrisdale Cameras. I would show you what this looks like. However, the batteries are not in it due to me needing batteries for my Xbox controller. Really good investment. It's a basic ring light, it screws onto the end of my camera. So when I have low light situations, I can just light up the whole area. And yeah, that's my basic kit when it comes to self-portraits. And then I use a number of different lenses. I rarely use the lens that's on this right now, which is my macro lens. I usually use my nifty 50, or I use my standard lens, which is 18 to 55 millimeters. Those are the tools that I use. In the next video, I will be showing you guys a little bit more of a tutorial on how to set up a self-portraiture session, including how I attach this guy to stuff, and how I manage to deal with light changes and etc. and so on and so forth. But this is my first video on this, so I hope you guys have enjoyed it,